What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Alright guys, so we are going to basically continue our coverage over the Battle of the Cowl storyline. Now remember, when it comes to Battle of the Cowl, this comes right after Final Crisis. Matter of fact, it comes out of Final Crisis. Because remember, with Final Crisis being this big, huge storyline, you did have a lot of different things happen in that event. But one of the biggest things to happen was the death of Batman. Now that was very huge because with the death of Batman, that means Gotham no longer has their protector. And so Gotham goes into complete chaos, which honestly, to me personally, it was already there. But I guess now with Batman being gone, it got it even worse. Either way, you do have other heroes out there trying to basically protect Gotham, but of course, they can't do that because Gotham needs a Batman. And so when it comes to the Battle of the Cowl storyline, it's really more of who is going to become the next Batman. Now, we're covering the main storyline and all the tie-ins as well, but we're doing this one a tad bit differently. And what I mean by that is, when it comes to this storyline right here, each video is going to contain at least 3 different issues so that we're able to get through Battle of the Cowl very quickly and jump into Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin series. And so, like I said, each video will have 3 separate issues to kind of help us get through this crazy event. Now, with that being said, today's video is going to have Battle of the Cowl number 2, Azrael number 2, and Orcale the Cure number 2. Now, when it comes to Battle of the Cowl, of course, that is the main storyline of this entire event. When it comes to Azrael, this is a 3-part miniseries where we're basically learning the origin of the new Azrael. And when it comes to Orcale the Cure, well, that's just Orcale, Barbara Gordon, going after a bad guy known as the Calculator, who is trying to use the anti-life equation for his own personal needs, which honestly is not a bad need, it's the anti-life equation. That's a very bad equation to use to save somebody's life. And you see what I mean as we go through each of these books. And so getting into Battle of the Cowl number 2, which is the main storyline of Battle of the Cowl, we actually pick up with Two-Face and the Penguin. Now, this is actually very important. And the reason why, because this is DC reminding us that with Batman no longer being around, and of course, in the Battle of the Cowl storyline, Gotham has a lot of gang wars happening left and right. But the biggest gang war to happen is, of course, with Two-Face and the Penguin. Now, Two-Face and Penguin have been rivals for a very long time, but now you have Black Mask involved. And what Black Mask is doing is that he's trying to have the Penguin and Two-Face kind of fight each other even more now so that one of them will kill off the other, so that Black Mask can come and kill the other one off and then completely rule the criminal underground. And so he's making this gang war even worse than it was originally before he stepped in and causing more problems for Two-Face and the Penguin. But getting back over to Nightwing and also Damian Wayne, let's not forget the last time we covered Battle of the Cowl number 1 in our very first video, these 2 characters were trying to get away from Poison Ivy and Killer Croc. The problem was, though, as they were trying to get away, they were then attacked by Black Mask and then cornered by Black Mask's men. Now, with that happening, they were saved by the new Batman of Gotham City. Now, at first, we have no idea who this new Batman is, but when it comes to this new Batman, well, he uses guns, which means that he basically goes around and killing people left and right. So yes, he does stop criminals from committing more crimes. It's just that he's killing them. And that is a huge no-no because Bruce Wayne, when he was Batman, he didn't kill anybody. You may scare them, you may break their bones left and right, but you're not allowed to kill anyone. This new Batman, He's out there killing people left and right. Now, this new Batman also knows that Batman was Bruce Wayne, and that tells Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, that who this person actually is. This person who's going around pretending to be the new Batman. And so you have Dick Grayson say, I know it's you, Jason Todd. It's you going around right now pretending to be this new Batman. Now, at this point in DC Comics, Jason Todd was really a bad guy to Batman. Like at first, it was cool when he came back. He's all, I'm alive. And he was mad at Bruce Wayne for not killing off the Joker for killing him. But in the early days of Jason Todd being Red Hood, DC had no idea what to do with the character. And so honestly, he was just a crazy dude running around Gotham until the New 52 relaunch, and they kind of knew what they wanted to do with Red Hood. Either way, this is Red Hood saying, I am going to prove that I'm actually better than Bruce Wayne, that I can be a better Batman. And so he does fight against Dick Grayson. It is kind of even, but you did have Jason Todd shoot Damian in the chest twice as a way to kind of keep Dick Grayson and the birds of prey away from him so he's able to escape. But now we know that this fake Batman that's running around Gotham is just Jason Todd once again being crazy in the pre-New 52 timeline. But then we jump over to Black Mask. Now remember, Black Mask is right now trying to take over the criminal underground. And so back in Battle of the Cowl #1, he broke out a lot of different villains who were going to be transported over to Arkham Asylum. After he did that, he then blew up Arkham Asylum as way to say, you guys are not going to go there. You're going to work for me, and we're going to help each other take over Gotham. Now, he does pick two particular characters to kind of help with his master plan. The first is Jane Doe. Now, Jane Doe is one of those characters I know that some DC fans know of, but not a lot. And when it comes to Jane Doe, she is basically your serial killer, except after she kills a person, she tries to take their identity and pretend to be that person that she had just killed. And so that is Jane Doe. And then the other one is Firefly. And of course, he's just your regular arsonist who flies around with a fire gun, just trying to burn everything down. I just said fire gun. I don't know why I didn't say flamethrower. But either way, these two guys are going to be somewhat important for Black Mask's big plan in this storyline. But then we jump over to Red Hood. Now, when we do, this is Red Hood basically showing us, the readers, why he believes that he is a better Batman. And what I mean by that is, this is Jason Todd going around being the fake Batman of Gotham, but attacking different operations that are controlled by Black Mask. Now, the reason why I say he believes that he's better than Batman is because you do have Red Hood talking to us, Jason Todd talking to us, and saying that the reason why he believes that he is a better Batman is because when it came to Bruce Wayne was just always trying to scare villains and thinking that fear would basically control the bad guys of Gotham. And sooner or later, Gotham will become safe. But this is Jason Todd saying the villains are no longer scared of you, Bruce, or they stopped being scared of you a long time ago. And when they lost that fear, they realized they could do even worse things to people in Gotham. And yes, you may show up, but you no longer scare them. And so they're just going to come back over and over again and keep doing even worse things over and over again. And so this is Jason Todd saying, if you want to make sure that bad guys don't come back, you got to put them down. And so basically meaning killing them. And so we see a Jason Todd Batman going around killing people left and right to show that his ways is the best way to control the crime in Gotham City. But then we jump over to Tim Drake. Now remember, at this point in DC Comics, Tim Drake was actually Robin, but this begins the process of us seeing Tim Drake retiring as Robin and actually becoming Red Robin. It all starts right here. Either way, Tim Drake has been trying to have Dick Grayson become the new Batman. But of course, Dick Grayson said no. And the reason why, because Dick Grayson was Batman back in the 1990s for a short period of time until Bruce came back and continued on as Batman. But it's Tim telling Dick, you have to become the next Batman because you're the best person for the role. But once again, Dick said no. And so Tim Drake took a Batman outfit and has been running around Gotham pretending to be Batman. And the reason why, because this is Tim saying we have a fake Batman out there right now with guns shooting up the place. Someone has to go out there and pretend to be Batman to just control the chaos. But on top of that, hopefully stop this fake Batman from making things even worse. Now, this also kind of shows off Tim Drake's detective skills because he was able to actually find the Batcave that belongs to the fake Batman, Jason Todd. Now, at first, Tim Drake does not know that Jason Todd is the fake Batman running around Gotham, but he didn't realize, okay, Jason Todd is the fake Batman, which of course makes sense because I found his Batcave, which means that I have to stop Jason Todd. Now, with Jason Todd, he knew that someone will sooner or later find his Batcave, and so he had the place booby-trapped. And of course, Tim Drake does set off one of those traps. Now, luckily, he was saved by Selina Kyle. Now, the reason why she is here because she saw Tim Drake swinging around Gotham pretending to be Batman, and she was confused because she was told Bruce Wayne died. And so when she saw a Batman going around Gotham, she was kind of like, no, I have to follow that. And of course, she found out that it was Tim Drake. But then we jump over to Alfred and Dick Grayson. Now, this is really Alfred telling Dick Grayson, dude, you have to become the next Batman. Like, you're the best person for the role. Now, the reason why Dick Grayson does not want to become the next Batman is because what happened back in the 1990s when Dick Grayson was Batman the first time. Because when he became Batman, he felt like he failed as Batman. He failed Bruce Wayne as Batman, but also he hated what he had become when he was out there pretending to be Batman. And so this is Dick telling Alfred he's afraid of failing again. He's afraid of becoming just like Bruce Wayne. He's afraid of becoming something that he might hate down the road. But this is Alfred telling This is Alfred telling Dick Grayson, dude, listen, that was in the past. This is now. You have the ability to become a Batman, but a different kind of Batman, to take the mantle and make it your own. It's time for you to realize that you are the best person to become the next Batman of Gotham City. But then we pick up with Commissioner Gordon and also the new district attorney. Now, this section does tell us right off the bat that this takes place after the Mr. Freeze Commissioner Gordon battle in the Commissioner Gordon one-shot we covered in the last video, because it is brought up here in this section. Either way, this is the district attorney telling Gordon that he basically needs more evidence to kind of prove that the Penguin and Two-Face are committing a lot of different crimes in Gotham, but on top of that, the gang war as well. And so you do have Gordon getting very upset with the idea that the district attorney is kind of scared to go after different supervillains in Gotham right now. But then you have the district attorney kind of flip the story back over to the commissioner and saying, Gordon, you can't talk because look at your GCPD. They are unable to actually capture different supervillains across Gotham City. And most of these supervillains are not really that powerful. It's just that you guys had relied so much on Batman that basically you guys never learned how to actually handle these supervillains. And so because here we are now with no Batman at all, your officers have no idea what to do. You have no idea what to do. Yes, you may tell me that you have stopped Mr. Freeze on your own, but that's one guy. But here's the problem though. You have so many other super villains out there right now causing problems. So I don't believe the GCPD can actually control the villains of Gotham City. Now, while you have the two guys actually talking to one another, you do have Jane Doe appear as some guy she killed off, and she does kill off the district attorney. Now, she leaves Gordon alive only because Black Mask said, "Do not kill off Commissioner Gordon." But this is Black Mask showing that he wants complete chaos in Gotham, and he is enjoying everything he has done so far in this storyline. But then we jump over to Dick Grayson. Now, when we do see Dick Grayson deciding that it's about time for him to become the next Batman of Gotham City. The problem is, though, when he goes to grab a Batman suit, he realized one is missing, and he realized that Tim Drake had basically taken one of the Batman outfits and left a note saying that he has gone hunting, which means that it's Dick Grayson saying, okay, I have to go save Tim because he may get himself in trouble, which honestly, he already did. But then we jump over to Tim Drake and Selina Kyle. Now, when we do, we actually still see them right now, kind of looking around the Batcave that belongs to Jason Todd to find more things. Now, Jason Todd does come back. He does take out Selina Kyle, and this does lead into a battle between Jason Todd and Tim Drake. Now, when it comes to this battle right here, there is a lot of drama between these two characters. And what I mean about that drama is that, remember, Jason Todd was the second Robin, but he was the first Robin to die. Now, when he did die, Bruce Wayne did not want to take in another Robin because he felt like he failed Jason Todd. Then he got Tim Drake, and Tim Drake did technically replace Jason Todd. But when Jason Todd came back, Jason Todd did hate Bruce Wayne for not really killing off the Joker, but at the same time, there was a small hatred towards Tim Drake, only because he felt like Bruce Wayne used Tim Drake as a way to replace Jason Todd. And so Jason Todd kind of, I don't want to say he fully hates Tim Drake, but there is small hatred towards Tim Drake because Tim Drake did replace Jason Todd as Robin. Either way, you do have the two characters right now fighting against one another. And these are two people who used to be Robins who are right now trying to show who would be a better Batman. And so as their battle goes on, Jason Todd is more brutal, where Tim Drake is not as brutal as Jason Todd. And because Tim Drake is not as brutal as Jason Todd, that gives Jason Todd the upper hand to actually win. And he does win the battle, and he leaves Tim Drake stabbed and bleeding out. And this is Jason Todd saying, I have to go after one more, meaning Dick Grayson, because it's now Jason Todd realizing that if he wants to become the Batman of Gotham, he has to get rid of the other Robins who are trying to become the Batman of Gotham. And that leaves only now Dick Grayson. Now, we actually do jump over to Azrael, Death's Dark Knight, #2. Now remember, this miniseries was basically a way for DC to kind of give us the new Azrael in DC Comics, because by this point, John Paul Valley, the original Azrael, was dead, and so it was time for a new one, and that came Michael Lane. Now, this was not Michael Lane's first appearance in DC Comics. Matter of fact, the guy appeared back in the early parts of Grant Morrison's Batman run. And what I mean by that is the GCPD in the military basically had this idea to kind of have a backup plan just in case Batman actually died, to make backup Batmans to help protect Gotham. Michael Lane, the new Azrael, was one of those characters who was basically selected. Now, in the earlier parts of this miniseries, we actually learned that when it came to Michael Lane, he was a great football player in high school, but because he did some bad things on the side, he did lose a lot of scholarships and had no choice but to join the military. Now, when he came back to Gotham, he became a police officer. But right after that, he lost a lot of people in his life. His son, his wife, and 2 of his siblings all died in a very short period of time. And so, of course, that right there broke him mentally. And so when he joined that special program to basically become a backup Batman, they were worried at first, but they realized he may still be a great fit to become the next Batman of Gotham because of his mental state. Now, the reason why he became the next Azrael happened in the last issue. Now remember, the reason why he became the new Azrael is because basically when it came to the Order of St. Dumas, they usually are the ones who select a new Azrael. But over time, the Order of St. Dumas, this organization that felt like Gotham needs to be fixed by their religion, well, over the years, you had different people break off from the actual Order of St. Dumas and make different groups that broke away from the original order. And so with that being said, years ago, a group of people broke away from the Order of St. Dumas to make the Order of Purity, and they felt like it was the right time to actually select Michael Lane to be the new Azrael, somebody to basically fix Gotham. Now, when it comes to their religion, of course, it's Christianity, and so they're trying to basically use the power of God as a way to actually fix Gotham. Now, that was all told to us in the last issue. Now, then you have to remember what happened in the first chapter. Because remember, at the end of the first chapter, we saw Michael Lane become the new Azrael, but he was stabbed by Talia al Ghul. Now, the reason why he was stabbed by Talia al Ghul is because the armor he wears makes him Azrael, but the armor he is wearing, the suit of sorrows, was actually given over to Bruce Wayne. Because originally, Talia al Ghul got the suit from her father, Ra's al Ghul, and then she gave that suit over to Bruce Wayne, her lover. But the suit was stolen by the Order of Purity and given over to Michael Lane. And so Michael Lane has the suit. He became the new Azrael, but Talia al Ghul did not like that. And so she attacked the church where Azrael was becoming Azrael, and you had Talia al Ghul actually stab Michael Lane right in the chest, hoping to basically kill him, but she actually did not kill him, because when it comes to her sword, Sword of Salvation, it doesn't actually kill you. What it does instead, it makes you go through all the different grief you had over different things in your life. And so for Michael Lane, he's going through every horrible moment in his life. Like, for example, every single death of everybody close to him, but on top of that, being part of that GCPD military program of being a backup Batman. Either way, this is Talia thinking that she has handled Azrael, but she wants to keep him in the suit around a tad bit longer. And so she does tell her man, pick him up and let's go, because I want to examine him a tad bit more. Now, once you have the men who are basically working for Talia al Ghul begin the process of actually picking up Michael Lane, thinking that they'll be able to take him with them, well, you then have Michael Lane actually wake up. Now, with Michael Lane being trained to become the next Batman in line, just in case Bruce Wayne had ever died as Batman, he has a lot of training, which of course also kind of helped him become a great candidate to become the next Azrael. And so when these guys thought they had Azrael, Michael Lane, and when he woke up and began to actually fight against him, he shows how big a mistake it was to actually think they had a chance to fight against him. And so he does take out all of Talia al Ghul men, but then it comes down to Talia al Ghul. Now remember, Talia al Ghul is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, which means that she does have some form of training, which makes her a great fighter with or without weapons. And so she does fight against Michael Lane. But while the two characters are fighting against one another, she does mention that how he needs to take the suit off for two reasons. The first is that because originally she gave that suit to Batman as a gift. And of course, it was stolen out of the Batcave. But the second reason why is because the suit is actually cursed. And when it comes to Michael Lane, the Order of Purity, basically a faction that broke away from the Order of St. Dumas, did not tell Michael Lane Azrael that wearing the suit has a curse effect on it, which of course could do something to you. And so you actually have Talia al Ghul and Michael Lane sit down to discuss what she meant earlier with the idea of the suit is basically cursed. And what she tells Michael Lane is that when it comes to the suit, whoever wears the suit, they go insane. And she does show some different items that basically proves that what she is saying is possibly correct, that if you wear the suit long enough, you will go insane. Now, when it comes to Talia al Ghul, she does tell Michael Lane that she is upset with the idea that he took the suit out of the Batcave, or really the Order of Purity took it out of the Batcave, but she actually planned to give the armor over to Damian Wayne, her son. Now, of course, for Michael, he's kind of like, you're going to give your son a piece of suit that basically drives men crazy. It makes them insane. How is that a good idea? But for Talia, she's like, listen, I know my son. He will be a great fit to wear what you're wearing right now. Now, you do have Michael Lane tell Talia al Ghul that he's not going to take it off, and he leaves. But right before he does leave, you do have Talia say to herself that she's not worried because she feels like sooner or later, Michael is going to come back to her. And when he does, he is going to beg her to take off the armor. Now, the next section actually does focus on Orcale and Nightwing. And the reason why, because you have Orcale watching the cameras that, of course, watch over Gotham, and she does catch Azrael on her cameras. And so she does call up Nightwing to inform him, hey, listen, we do have an Azrael problem. Now, for Nightwing, he's wondering, is this John Paul Valley or somebody else taking up the mantle? Which we already know is someone else taking up the mantle. Either way, it's Nightwing telling Orcale to make sure to watch over this Azrael person, because as soon as this Azrael basically kills someone off, that means Michael Lane goes right in front of everybody else on Nightwing's list, which means Nightwing is going to handle Azrael as soon as he becomes a killer in Gotham City. But then the following section is also reminding us that when it comes to Detective Bullock, he was actually trying to investigate the different crime scenes that the new Azrael have basically left over Gotham City. Because remember, back in the Gotham Gazette storyline, the very first issue we had actually covered, where Gotham was wondering if Batman was actually dead, either way, he was trying to solve a case where he found a couple of dead bodies where their heads were cut off, but at the same time, there was no blood. And remember, we learned that because someone got their heads cut off by a sword that had a huge amount of heat to it, that basically as soon as that person had cut that other person's head off, the wounds were closed thanks to the heat. And we now know it was Azrael. And so this is Detective Bullock going to the church, finding a couple dead bodies, but also trying to figure out how in the world is this guy doing it? Like, how is Azrael doing this? Now, Detective Bullock has no idea it is the new Azrael, but either way, it's him saying, I have to find out who is the new killer in Gotham City. But then we actually do see Michael Lane go find the Order of Purity. Now, when he does, this is really more of Michael Lane asking them, is it true about the curse that he learned from Talia al Ghul? And of course, the Order of Purity realize they have no choice but to actually tell Michael Lane the truth, which they actually do show someone else who wore the suit before Michael Lane did. And of course, that person did become insane because he wore the suit for about 6 weeks long. And so now it's Michael Lane wondering if there is a possibility he will also go insane because he's wearing the suit. But then we see Michael actually go visit his mother in the hospital, or what seems to be a elderly care program. Now, when he does, this is really more of Michael Lane asking his mother for help. Now, it does seem like his mother is mute or basically mentally shut down because, again, he did lose a lot of people in his life. He lost a couple siblings, which means that those siblings had died were most likely her children. And so she was also affected by the deaths in their family. Now, with that being said, this is Michael Lane coming to his mother wondering if he's going to make the right decision when it comes to him becoming the Azrael for this order of purity. And the reason why, because he feels like it goes against everything his mother had taught him about God. Because remember, the order of purity and the order of St. Dumas, they're trying to fix Gotham by using their religion, God, in a more extreme way. And so with that, it's Michael saying everything you taught me and what I'm about to do are completely opposite. And you always told me God gave me a mission, but I'm afraid the mission God gave me, again, goes against whatever you had taught me over the years. Because you told me killing is wrong, being a murderer is wrong. But here I am right now going around killing people and murdering people in the name of the Lord. And so it's him saying, which way is right? The order of St. Dumas or what my mother taught me? He's having a hard time deciding which path to actually take. But then we actually pick up with some police officers who are basically kind of helping out Detective Bullock try to figure out who's the main person behind the last few killings in Gotham City. And so they're watching cameras over the church. And remember, back at the end of the first chapter of the series, Azrael had a fight against Talia al Ghul in the church. And of course, a dead body was left behind. And that dead body was actually someone who was actually a member of the Order of Purity. But we saw earlier, Detective Bullock found that dead body and he told police officers to watch the cameras over this place. And so when Michael Lane is leaving the church, you have these officers recognize him and say, oh my God, that's Michael Lane. He used to be a police officer for the GCPD, but on top of that, he may be our killer. And so then we actually jump back over to Michael Lane. Now, when we do, we actually do see Michael Lane right now in the Batcave. And this is huge because remember, Talia al Ghul told Michael Lane that when it came to the armor he's wearing that makes him Azrael, she actually had the armor originally because her father, Ra's al Ghul, gave it to her, but she gave the suit over to Batman as a gift. And so right now is him going back to the Batcave wondering if he should basically return the armor. Now, he did not steal it because remember, the Order of Purity broke into the Batcave to steal the armor and then give it over to Michael Lane. But this is Michael Lane wondering if he should give the suit back. But while he was thinking that, that is the moment he was confronted by Nightwing, which tells us that the final issue of this 3-part miniseries, which we're going to cover in a different video, is going to be Nightwing versus Azrael, the new one. But getting into Oracle the Cure number 2, we actually do pick up with Oracle right now in Hong Kong. Now, the reason why she's in Hong Kong is because she's meeting up with other hackers who could possibly help her actually hunt down the Calculator and basically stop him. Now, remember, the Calculator is the main bad guy of this series, and he's this guy who's really good at math and science. Either way, though, in this storyline, he is trying to save his daughter or bring his daughter out of her coma, and his daughter is Wendy. Now, remember, Wendy was actually part of the Teen Titans, and her code name was Proxy, but she was actually attacked while being at Titan's Tower and put into a coma. And then later on, it was told to us that she is the daughter of the Calculator. Now, with all that being said, he's trying to bring his daughter out of her coma by using the anti-life equation. Now, this is another plot line that's coming out of Final Crisis. Because remember, in Final Crisis, Darkseid basically used the anti-life equation through the internet, through all technology. And remember, when it comes to the anti-life equation, it's really used as a way to break someone's free will. And so he spread that across the world by using the internet, by using technology. And so with all that being said, it's Calculator and Oracle kind of saying that there are still some pieces of the anti-life equation left in the internet. And so if the Calculator is able to find those pieces of the anti-life equation, he could possibly use it as a way to wake his daughter out of her coma. And so right now we see him trying to search through the internet, or really a virtual world, to basically find the anti-life equation. And so that is why you have Barbara Gordon right now in Hong Kong, because she's trying to meet up with other hackers who can help her hunt down the Calculator and to hopefully stop him. But getting back over to Oracle right now, being in Hong Kong to basically meet up with the other hackers, this is really more of Oracle meeting up with a team of hackers or computer experts who were able to copy the internet. Now that right there is actually very important because, like I said earlier, when it came to Final Crisis, Darkseid used the internet as a way to spread the anti-life equation around the world. And so of course there could be some pieces of the anti-life equation still in the internet. And so what happened was you did have basically the world shut down the internet until they believed that they were able to scrub away the anti-life equation. And then they brought it right back up. But when it comes to these hackers, what they did was they had actually copied the internet before it was basically shut down. And so they could have most of the pieces of the anti-life equation in their possession. But of course, they kind of have to work through the different clusters in the internet to kind of put together the anti-life equation. And so that's where the VR system comes in, because with the VR system, you basically have Oracle going inside the internet virtually, and she's trying to see the connection between the different pieces or the different clusters of the anti-life equation, which really shows us that the anti-life equation was not really purged from the internet. Maybe in the new version of the internet, but there could still be other pieces of the anti-life equation in the new internet as well. Either way, this is Oracle trying to use this as a way to possibly stop the Calculator or to basically try to figure out how to get rid of it. But then we see Barbara Gordon actually leave the virtual world, and then she calls up Chaos Larry. Now, when it comes to Chaos Larry, he's another hacker that Oracle knows. Because remember, back in the first issue, we were told that basically Oracle had all these different hackers who kind of work for her across the world. Now, one of them died at the end of our last video. And matter of fact, that right there is actually very important, because you do have Oracle calling up Chaos Larry to warn him that basically when it comes to the Calculator, he may go after different hackers who are very close or who may have some kind of association to Oracle. And so this is Oracle saying, listen, Cheese Fiend died because of me. But on top of that, because she had pieces of the anti-life equation. And so right now, the Calculator, the main bad guy, is using a virtual world known as Viva Alta. And because Viva Alta is one of the biggest internet video games out there in the world that takes up a huge portion of the internet, he's able to use that system, that server, as a way to kind of dive deep into the internet to continue his search for different pieces of the anti-life equation. But it's Oracle saying you have to stay away, because remember, Cheese Fiend was contacted by him because she had pieces of the anti-life equation, some clusters of it. And so he had tricked her into a meeting. He got the way he wanted from her and then killed her off. Now, even though he killed off her virtual version of herself, he was able to send a pulse through her headset to basically blow her head up and kill her. And so this is really Oracle saying, when it comes to the Calculator, he's great at math. He's great at science. But once he gets what he wants from you, Chaos Larry, which is possibly more clusters of the anti-life equation, he will kill you. Yes, you may meet him in the virtual world, but if you die in that world, you're going to die in real life, and you need to stay away. And so you have Chaos Larry actually agreeing that he will stay away from Viva Alta and hopefully stay hidden from Calculator, because if he doesn't, and if he does actually contact the Calculator, he will end up just like Cheese Fiend did, headless and of course dead. Now, this is where you had a story kind of jump between two different settings, where you actually have Chaos Larry ignoring what Barbara Gordon had told him to do, which is stay off the internet, go hide somewhere until all of this is handled. And of course, this is Chaos Larry thinking that because he's a great hacker in his own mind, that he'll be able to actually handle the Calculator. And so he goes into Alva Vita, the virtual world, to confront the Calculator to hopefully defeat him. The problem is, though, when Chaos Larry gets there with his virtual avatar, he gets his butt kicked. Like literally at first he was winning the battle, but then you have the Calculator kind of like, dude, you gone ahead and messed up now. You came after me in this virtual world. You have lost your mind. And so, of course, it led to the Calculator actually capturing Chaos Larry's avatar. And remember, when it comes to the Calculator, if he kills off your virtual avatar, you die in real life as well. And so now he has what he wants, a hostage. But then he begins to pull apart the internet and grab different clusters of the anti-life equation. And that is the problem, because the entire time that was going on, you have Barbara Gordon trying to search through the internet through the VR system for more clusters of the anti-life equation so that she can begin the process of downloading it and taking it away from the internet so that the Calculator cannot use the anti-life equation. The problem was, though, as soon as she was trying to do that, of course, different pieces of clusters that she had saw were just disappearing. And the reason why, because it was the Calculator altering the internet, pulling apart data left and right, pulling data for his own personal need. But then we see him trying to attack her through the actual internet. Now, her hackers in Hong Kong were able to pull her out of the actual VR system. But when they do that, the Calculator is trying to come to life through the actual computer screen in Chorus. This storyline is getting crazy like no other. But either way, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. But also, guys, we're going to wrap this whole Oracle the Cure storyline in a later video. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.